Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, I'm going to be starting a new series that is going to be focusing on the basics for Spirit Island. And what I'm going to be doing is selecting different spirits in the game and doing a very general basic strategy guide for that spirit. This is going to be moving at a much slower pace. There will be no adversary, just the standard rules. And I'll be having this video come out on the day that the Jagged Earth digital expansion gets released. So I'm excited to have this. By the time you guys are seeing this video, Jagged Earth for digital should be out. Okay, so Eyes Watch from the Trees. This is a spirit from the Horizon expansion, and it's primarily a defensive spirit. And it has a defensive innate here, and it has multiple thresholds. And as you move down, you'll increase the defend as well as increase the amount of fear. It also has a special rule that says Dahan trust the watchers, and it says after one of your powers adds defend to a single land, gather up to one Dahan into that land. What this special rule lets you do is whenever you defend a land, it lets you gather Dahan in, so it enables those counter attacks. Eyes Watch is a 0-2-1. That means it has 3 growth options. The first growth option does not place presence, the second places 2 presence, and the third places a single presence, but then gains some extra goodies. And your tracks are 4-4. Looking at our special power cards, I wonder if there's a way. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so I can press show hand. So these are our 4 power cards here. Our first one is a 0 energy fast power. It allows you to target any player, and that player gets defend 4 or defend 8 in that land. Now, because of your special rule, that player is able to gather a Dahan into that land. So this is another defensive tool. So you have the defensive innate as well as this defensive tool. You have Mysterious Abductions, which is a 1 energy fast power, and it's going to be fast damage at 0 range. And it also gets a fear, so this is a great way to snipe off starting explorers. Whispered Guidance Through the Night. This is my favorite card on Eyes' kit, mainly because I love the artwork, and it will also probably be the thumbnail to this video. It's a 0 energy perfect element card. It lets you move Dahan, and when Dahan are present in a land with invaders, you generate a fear. This card has a jungle targeting restriction, and what this means is the presence must be placed in a jungle and has to be targeted from that jungle when using this card. So there are going to be some boards where this card is better and other boards where it's not. So a good example here, I've chosen board B for this demonstration, but you can see my jungle is adjacent to all of the lands on my board, which means I can always use that card to get Dahan where I need them to be. Some boards, this isn't the case, so keep that in mind. The last card here is Eerie Noises and Moving Trees. It's a 2 energy slow power, another perfect element card. It's going to generate you 2 fear, and also you get to push 2 explorers/towns. This card gives us 2 fear. We get 1 fear off guidance, 1 fear off abductions, plus up to 5 fear on our innate. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 fear a turn, and that's going to help tear through that fear deck. Okay, let's look at the board here. We have our Jungles Explorer starting. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Eyes is going to have that 1 card Mysterious Abductions that can deal that damage and stop that build. With Eyes, I love starting off with G3 for a ton of reasons. The main reason, so this is G1. That 1 is standing for the order at which the growth option is laid out. So G1 is here, this is going to be your G2, and this is going to be your G3. And this is a nomenclature that you'll see a lot of Spirit Island players use when differentiating between the different growth options. So I'll be using this 3rd growth option here, G3, and I like choosing this option turn 1 because it lets me draft that power card so I can make decisions for later in the game. You might have a tendency to want to use your 2nd growth option a lot to fast grow along your tracks. And while I think that could be helpful, I think using your 3rd growth option early on, especially turn 1, is just so good. I think it's just better because, like I said, that extra knowledge. Now, with the Spirit, there are a couple builds that you can play with it, and the build I like is I like rushing down bottom track here, trying to get to 4 plays, and I like doing that G3. So I'm going to use the third growth option here, and I'm going to get that power card before I place that presence, and that's because I want to have my draft knowledge before that presence comes down. Now, with eyes, we want to be hitting this innate as much as we can, and our energy economy is only going to have 1 energy, and as you guys can see, our cards cost energy, so it's going to be tough to play cards. So really what's most important for us is we want to draft 0 energy cards that can hit this innate. So I'm now going to look at the cards that are here drafted, and I have Pull Beneath, Prowling Panthers, Call to Trade, and Rain of Blood. Plant is our primary element, so that's another thing that we need to factor in here. Unfortunately, we didn't get any 0-cost plants. Prowling Panthers is seen as one of the worst cards in the game, so I'm not going to pick this card. The reason why Prowling Panthers is seen as one of the worst cards is because there's this targeting restriction here, Jungle Mountain, so it only can add beasts to that land type. And then if I want to kill buildings, it has to be that land type, and there has to be a beast here. So I would have to play this card twice to get value, and it costs 1 energy. Just a very bad card. Pull Beneath isn't a bad card, but it's lacking that plant, and it costs an energy. Call to Trade is seen as one of the best cards in the game because it's a Ravage skip. It will turn a Ravage into a build, and this can be critical to beating some matchups. It also has plant. Now, it does cost 1 energy, and like I said, our energy economy is tight, so I'm not going to pick it. Lastly, we have Rain of Blood, which, depending on how familiar you are with the game, you might think this card is very bad or very good. When I first started, I thought this card was terrible. As I've become more experienced, I've found this card to be actually really strong. 0 energy for 3 fear is a ton of value. And with eyes, we're going to have that extra card play spot. So this is going to be the card I'm going to draft here, and we're just going to try to tech so much fear. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to be placing this presence. I'm going to place it from bottom track. A lot of times I want to grow into the land that just explored, or I want to grow into that jungle. Luckily for us, it's both of those things. So I'm going to grow into my B4 here. And as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the cards, I like playing Mysterious Abductions here because I can do 1 damage, 1 fear, and I can stop that build cycle here. So now when I activate that in the fast, I'll be able to kill that explorer. So I now have a choice here. I could choose to play my second 0-cost card, Rain of Blood, or I can choose to, just underplay. Underplaying is a strategy that a lot of spirits use, and the purpose of it is you want to not use up all of your card plays such that you can have a stronger turn later in the game. With eyes, we tend to not underplay just because next turn we'll be playing 3 cards, and the following turn we're only going to have 1 card in our hand, so it's just better just to reclaim at that point. So I rarely underplay on eyes. Usually what I do is I play, I play Abductions here, turn 1, and then I like to play whatever 0-cost card I have. I'll be playing my Rain of Blood. So that is it here. I am going to be missing that innate because, like I said, it needed plant, and it has no plant. We'll be using Abductions here, killing that explorer. And now that jungle builds. So what's great here is I can plan to just use my innate there next turn and defend it. I'm going to use Rain of Blood here to get some fear. Alright, so now we are entering our turn 2, and like I already mentioned, I'm going to choose my second growth option here, growing twice from bottom track. I'm going to use the adding the presence at 0 range here, creating that sacred site. Now, wherever I put this second presence is where I ideally want to be doing my, eventually playing Boon of Watchful Guarding down the road. So I'm proactively playing, where I place this presence is where I plan to eventually use Boon of Watchful Guarding. So I'm going to put this presence over here in this sands because eventually I want to be able to play it on that land. Okay. So at this point here, I'm going to have my Defend 4 innate, and I'm going to use that here, Defend 4. Because of my special rule, I could choose to gather a Dahan. I'm not going to. I then, if I'm playing in multiplayer, I can give out Boon of Watchful Guarding to another player. For us, it doesn't really do anything. I'm just going to pass with it. At this point, we're going to finish using our powers, and the invaders get to do their... Oh, it moves so quick. So we have invaders surge inland. Oh, moves so quick. We have panic, so we could add that strife. So it looked like that event, nothing happened. Let me go back and see if I can find it. So we get Dahan Defend, Grim Toll, and moving a coastal town, which we had none. Okay, so we have panic. We can add that strife. So I'm going to choose to add that strife. So I have a couple options of where I can put it. Over here, and over here. I'm going to choose to add it over here to my B2 city, mainly because there are cards in the event deck that can stop ravages in lands with strife, and I would want both my sands and both of my sands to ravage next turn. So I would rather put it over here on B2 to help soften that land up later in the game. The ravage occurs there on B8, the build's on the sands, and the explore is on the wetlands. And this is probably something I should have mentioned. So when I play those 3 cards such that we can hit this innate, but what's really great about Eerie Noises here is whenever we play this card, we want to be stopping city builds. Well, we ended up lucking out, and that wetlands is coming up this turn. So I will be able to push that stuff out of this wetlands, and by doing that, I can stop that city build here. Now, I have an interesting choice. I could push the stuff over here into B1, which will cause a city build here. The benefits of doing that is I can pocket my B8 and B7. And what pocketing is preventing an area where the invaders will not explore. And by pushing that town out, there's no adjacent building to my B8, so there won't be an explorer. And I value pocketing more than I value the city build. So I'm actually going to push the explorer, or the town and the explorer over here to B1. I'm now going to be using that whispered guidance over here into B5, allowing me to gather both of these Dahan here. And now I'll be able to easily defend that land. And as I mentioned before, we now have no cards in hand. We're just going to reclaim, and we're going to get that miner here. Once again, we're looking for a 0 cost on element card. Well, we did get it with Gift of Power. The reason why we want a 0 cost Moon Plant is later in the game, once we get to 4 plays, we can reclaim loop that Moon Plant card, and we can max out that innate. So yes, Gift of Power is the card that we're going to pick up here. Call of the Dahan Ways is a fun card as I can create more Dahan. Tends to not be that good on eyes. It's funny because you're a Dahan-based spirit. I shouldn't say not good. It's just, I think there are just better options. It doesn't have the plant, so you're taking a turn off. I think it's a good turn 1 play, but any time later in the game is pretty meh. Inflame has that Moon Plant, but it costs an energy. And then Sky Stretch is a good card. It's just not what we want. So I'm going to go with Gift of Power here. And we are going to do Boon of Watchful Guarding. We're going to be doing Whispered Guidance. And we will also be doing Eerie Noises. I think I want to do this. No, I don't. No Eerie Noises. Rain of Blood. So the next turn I'll have these 3 cards, and that will hit my Defend 6 innate here. So I will have my Boon of Watchful Guarding, giving me a Defend 4 in one of my lands. I will then use my Defend 2, and I'm going to use that here on B5. It is not edge case proof. The reason why is if I end up getting a increasing damage, this will end up blighting, which is definitely something that could occur with the events. If I want to be edge case proof, I should play my Moon Plant card. I am going to take the risk here because I want to be playing all 3 of my cards next turn so I can do a mega defend here on this wetland. Luckily, it did not matter. Population rises. We're going to add that town over here. And I guess that's also where my disease goes. Skipping the lowest explore, we're going to ravage sands. We're going to kill all these towns. Wetlands is going to build, and the explorer will be a follow-up wetlands. And luckily, we ended up getting the Fear card that stopped the lowest Explorer. If we didn't get that, my Defend 6 that I planned next turn would not be enough to defend this land. So, okay, so what do I want to do here? I'm going to be using Whispered Guidance. I originally was going to gather Dahan to here. Well, first let's do Rain of Blood, get my 3 Fear. And then I believe I want to actually Whispered Guidance here. No, I don't. Just kidding. We're going to Guidance. Actually, no, we will Guidance here. And as I mentioned, we're going to use our second growth option, and we will grow into the wetlands here. We'll play our 3 cards. There we go. We'll have that innate for Defend 6. I'm going to use my special roll to gather a Dahan. I'm going to gather a Dahan from my B6 and not my B5. The main reason is there is an event in the event deck called Cultural Assimilation, which is going to punish me if I have lone Dahans. You might be saying, wait a minute, you have 2 lone Dahan, so you're still going to get punished. Well, if I gather this Dahan here, I can choose Cultural Asim here, and then that would that will save me. But now if I gather the Sands Dahan into B1, I only can target my B1 Dahan, which will add a town, and that will cause that land to blight. So by doing this, I protect myself with B5. I also have Mysterious Abductions, which is going to deal a single point of damage here, which will put me under a lot of edge case damages. There's still a couple that will still get me here, but this will definitely help. There we go. And the next turn, I can run back a big defend there and gather more stuff. This is exactly what I was talking about here. So this is heavy farming. So this land would have had this land is 7 damage here, but because I played around the edge case there with Mysterious Abductions, I was able to play around that play around this event. And that's something that when you're playing Spirit Island and as you become more familiar with the game, you'll be able to play around more events like that. And this also helps Dahan raid, so we could do 2 damage here. That will actually completely clear out the game. Wow, we got Dahan attack again. Crazy. And a Strife. And the Explorer is Sand, so as you can see, we pocketed this land here. We're going to Gift of Power ourselves. At this point, it does not matter what I pick here. I'll go with Vigor for a Sun card, because I'm going to get a major next turn. And we'll use Eerie Noises here, pushing the Explorer into that mountain. I'm going to reclaim here, and I'm going to get a major, mainly because I'm trying to find a way to easily kill that last city that's just sitting there. I did get Jungle Hungers, and I can threshold that because I have a lot of Moon Implants, so I'm going to grab my Jungle Hungers as I can kill that city. I'm going to forget the card I just drafted. I'll play my Jungle Hungers, I will play my Gift of Power, I'll play my Whispered Guidance, and I will play my Rain of Blood. Actually, I could do... yeah, I'll do my Rain of Blood. There we go. And we'll have this innate for 3 Fear here. I'm going to gather a single Dahan. Alright, local Diaspora. We can push that Explorer. We'll push that over here into B1. We also get a Beast Push. Move an Explorer. Okay. And there's the Coastal Explorer. So what I will do here, I will Rain of Blood for more fear. I'll gather some more Dahan in just for the fun of it. I'll gain a power card for more fun. And I will end the game with a Jungle Hungers, killing that last city. And that is it. So that was a fun game with Eyes Watch. I hope this introduction guide was helpful to someone that was trying to learn the basics for the Spirit. If you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I will see you guys in the next video.